Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Front Row Access Podcast. I am your host,
didn't
Stephen
acknowledge.
Russo. And speaking of which, guys, we've got the ones up today because before we get into our show today, we're going over UFC 303. Now we're just going to give our fight predictions like we usually do. I do need to give some light to one particular thing that happened today. Unfortunately, Sika Anuai, the father of Roman Reigns, the High Chief, has passed away. And all the condolences to the Anuai and Fatu families. And now we're going to look into the other side of TKO in UFC. Obviously, you guys see the hats? We got the new hats. We got the Gilly Goose Gang t-shirts on. We got the Poirier sauce. We got the Poirier cup. We got the Mountain Dew in the front. And I got an Element yo-yo from Yo-Yo Factory. Pepsi, please hit me up. And Gentry, you got the best stuff in the world. GentryStein.com if you would like a yo-yo. And so, UFC 303, guys. Exciting, yes, very exciting, but it's not what we were promised, unfortunately.
I was gonna say it would have been more
It
exciting.
would have been more exciting if there was this guy. I don't know. He's a little Irish guy. His name's Conor McGregor.
Yeah, my prediction: McGregor ain't gonna show up.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we are robbed of having a good old match with Michael Chandler and Conor McGregor,
the
but
notorious one.
the notorious one, obviously. But UFC fumbled, sure, but they recovered pretty well from the fumble. We have a pretty good main card so far. We have Ian Gary and MVP. They're going to be starting it off. Then, of course, we have Myra Bueno Silva, former title challenger, and Macy Chazian, which she's a promising-looking contender. And we also have Anthony Smith and Roman Dolidze. A little bit more news on that once we get to it. Then we have our co-main event of Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez, and our new main event, as we went over last week, is Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska 2 for the light heavyweight title. So we're going to be going through all of that today. And, of course, we're going to be doing our normal shenanigans. So we're just going to get right into it.
You don't pull off shenanigans.
What? No. Come on, guys. Let's be honest. If we just straight gave you the podcast, our news, and our predictions, would you really watch? Let's be honest. So we had the changes and all that. So we're gonna read over the card already, and already gave you some insight as to how we're feeling about it. So here we go with the featured prelim. As you guys know, here at the Front Row Access Podcast, we go over the featured prelim, and of course the main card, the entire main card. That's what we're gonna be doing right now.
And any notable fighters that we see on the early prelims and whatnot that we think you should be paying attention to as other MMA fans.
Amen, brother. So our featured prelim is Joe Piper versus Marc-Andre Barreau. But also on the preliminary card is Cub Swanson. Obviously, we all know he's a mainstay of the featherweight division. He's been there for fucking years and has fought literally fucking everybody he's fought. So he's gonna be coming back for the prelims. And also we have Michelle Waterson Gomez, the karate hottie, on the early prelims as well. So, but we're not gonna be going quite over those things, but we wish all those people the best of luck with their fights. Of course, we wanted to just mention the notability of them. So let's get into this featured prelim. Joe Piper and Marc-Andre Barreau. Both of these guys are some newer middleweights that are making some impact right now. Not a whole lot. I'm not going to say they're the next Israel Adesanya or Alex Pereira or anybody like that.
They're making waves and headway. You know, we're still waiting to see where they'll reach, how high they'll go. But hey, we're here for it.
Exactly. We're going to watch your meteoric rise if you are to have one. So, of course, we're going to go over their fight right now. Hold on. I'm just adjusting the Poirier sauce to make sure you guys can see it.
They couldn't see it at the start.
There it
The
is.
was in the way.
So there it is. That looks a lot better, I think. So, Joe Piper, he's coming off of a loss to Jack Hermanson earlier this year in February. And fight night main event. So, it was a loss by a decision, though. It was a pretty good fight overall. But this guy, his biggest thing is his boxing, and I've seen a little bit of the Embedded series thus far. And the Embedded series, he's looking like he's very motivated for this fight, and he is the favorite to win this fight. I believe he's sitting at minus 235 right now as we speak. That's according to DraftKings, of course. That's not according to RI Sportsbook because in Rhode Island, DraftKings is illegal. So
Yeah, fuck RI Sportsbook.
yeah, fuck RI Sportsbook. Anyway, so Joe Piper is he's looking pretty good. I mean, he's got very good striking, a lot of the other guys in this division. But we also have this Marc-Andre Barreau guy. He's coming off of a loss to Chris Curtis back at UFC 297 in January. That was the Strickland and Duplessis card. Y'all remember that awesome fight that's gone down. I still think that might be fight of the year, but I don't know. We've got some contenders, man. We've got some contenders. He's had some good fights this year. I mean, Strickland and Duplessis. Obviously, the big one of Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje. That was incredible. And even Dustin Poirier and Islam Makhachev was an insanely good fight.
It
So
wasn't for the ankle
if
pick.
it wasn't for that fucking ankle pick, Dustin Poirier would be your UFC
And new.
lightweight champion of the world.
But we are not to dwell on that, although he will be on commentator.
Yep, he's gonna be on the analyst desk with all the other analysts. I don't know exactly who his other broadcast partners is, but I can tell you he's gonna be on the analyst desk for this one. And if he is to make a retirement announcement, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it this weekend. So, and then sadness will ensue for Steven for the foreseeable future until he finds a new fighter. So, I've already got some contenders going right now, but you know, I think Dustin's forever gonna be my favorite though. uh, Prince that never became king. But anyway, so I mean, Barreau in his last fight losing to Chris Curtis. That's fine. You lost to Chris Curtis.
It's Chris Curtis.
The dude has been there since fucking forever ago, and he's just one of those fighters that's just on a very elite level of competition and good all around. So I mean, him losing to Chris Curtis, that's not bad. That's not a terrible thing. But I will say though, that's about all the information that I can really give you about these guys. These guys are making a little bit of headway, not a whole lot, but I can definitely tell you both Joe Pyfer and Marc-Andre Barreau are 100% very good strikers, and I think that's how this fight's gonna play out. I'm gonna predict a knockout for Joe Pyfer though. I can't tell you what round though.
I'm gonna say this will go the distance, but I'm gonna say Piper's gonna win by decision.
And there you go. First prediction, a down, and of course, obviously, like we normally do with these lovely pay-per-view events, we're gonna be making our reactions. Obviously, we didn't do it for 302 because we were there, and my phone was like on the verge of dying while we were there, and I had to keep it in case one of us got in trouble for
lost.
something.
That was a huge crowd.
Or lost. That was a ginormous crowd. But so obviously we didn't do it for 302 nor 301 because we were at a restaurant for that, but we did do it for 300, and we're going to be doing it again for 303. You can see all those clips and our reactions to the fights on the TikTok page. It is front.row.access on TikTok. I don't think I'm going to be posting the reactions on YouTube Shorts nor Instagram Reels, so make sure you go and follow the TikTok for that. That's where most of our clips go anyway.
Have we plugged our different media outlets?
No, we haven't. We kind of just jumped right in. Anyway, guys, so we're on every platform except for Facebook because fuck Facebook. It's some rendition of Front Row Access, whether it's underscores, whether it's dashes, whether it's dots. It's some rendition of Front Row Access on all of those platforms. We are on Instagram. We are on X or Twitter, whatever the fuck it's called these days. We are on TikTok, and of course here on YouTube and Spotify, obviously. No clips on Spotify, but there will be some clips here on YouTube, and there will be some clips on the TikTok, especially the TikTok, because some of the clips that I make, they're a little bit longer, and YouTube doesn't like any clips that are longer than 60 seconds. So really make sure you hit that TikTok up. And then, of course, the Instagram and the Twitters, where we're going to be giving you all of our announcements when we're making our episodes and whatnot.
I did have a question for you.
Yes.
Is Tony the type of guy?
Tony is, in fact, the type of guy to go out there at UFC 304, absolutely fucking smoke, absolutely fucking smoke Michael Chiesa, and then ride off into the sunset, 100%. God damn it, Tony. Fucking retire after this fight. You're hurting me every time you fight now. You're hurting me. You're hurting me.
Off into the sunset after the win.
Yes, please. Just ride off into the sunset. You are a Hall of Famer. You have one of the best winning streaks in the history of UFC lightweights ever.
And you're kind of had a losing streak right now.
And you're kind of on a gigantic losing streak right now, and you're hurting me every single time you lose. So, please, for the love of God, smoke Michael Chiesa and retire. But that's not until UFC 304. So, that's quite a ways away for now. But actually, not really. It's about a month away.
I was gonna say
Not
it's the
really. It's
next
about a month
one.
away. But of course, we're gonna do a separate episode for that. That one is headlined by Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad. So for the welterweight title, which is good to see because there's like no movement at welterweight right now.
It's good to see you remembered his name.
I know, right? I usually forget the dude's name. I mean, all he does is just lay on people for 15, 25 minutes.
Listen,
So I
he
mean,
likes bump and grind.
he
That's
really, really likes
you
R.
know,
Kelly.
everyone has to. Everyone's entitled to their own song choice.
Be like that sometimes. So anyway, I got Joe Pyfer by a knockout. You got Joe Pyfer by a decision. And now we're gonna move on to the main card of UFC 303, which is available on ESPN Plus. Go ahead and buy it. Unfortunately, you missed the $10 off discount at the time of this recording. We're recording this on June 25th. It ended on the 24th. So, but it's still available. You can still buy it. Not that I work for ESPN or anything, but that's where you guys can get it, or by other means that I won't mention on here. But there are other means.
No, we'll mention them. We'll mention them. They're
Mhm.
all gonna play smart and go to B Dubs.
Exactly. They're at B Dubs. They're also at Dave and Buster's. Yeah,
Yep.
him and I were just at our local Dave and Buster's, and I found out that they had a deal with UFC too, and that you can watch the fights there as well. So you can go to UFC. You can go watch the UFC fights at Dave and Buster's. Have some crazy fucking wings. Those wings are really good there. The fries, I don't know, they could have been better, but they got drinks there. It's a little expensive, but there's also the video games. Obviously, you had a good time. Same with Buffalo Wild Wings. So those are the other places that you can probably watch them at. And look at your local bars and restaurants too. Sometimes they have licensing agreements with the UFC.
Yeah, I know a couple around that do.
Yep, I know. I know Boneheads did. That was a local restaurant around here that unfortunately has closed down. So, you know, that's that. But anyway, that's how you can watch the main card. And it's make sure you tune in like right at 10 p.m. Don't wait until the main event or the co-main event, okay? Because this first fight, you really don't want to miss. Because it's a pretty fucking good one. We have Ian Machado Gary versus MVP in a welterweight bout. So this fight's got banger written all over it for me. Both of these guys are very good, and both are technically undefeated right now. I mean, yeah, sure, MVP's got that 21-3 record. He lost 3 times, but at the same time, in UFC, he's 1-0. So it is what it is. Obviously,
And he has the swag meter.
he does in fact have the swag meter. So just fucking when he faced Kevin Holland in his last fight at UFC 299. Fucking right underneath the tail of the tape, it said swag level, and then like it was like 100 or 99 or something like that.
I mean, you gotta be pretty fucking badass to have your own stat.
Exactly, both of the guys. So MVP obviously coming off of that big decision win over Kevin Holland in his debut, and Ian Gary's coming off of a win. I think his last fight was Neil Magny back at UFC. Which one was it? 292, I believe. When Sean O'Malley beat Aljamain Sterling. Let me check and see when Ian Gary's last fight was, but I think that was it. But obviously Ian Gary is one of the few contenders left in the UFC that are undefeated. So I think he's 12-0 right now.
I might have fed him Colby.
Yeah. It's just, but obviously this is a great fight. But the fight that I wanted to see was Colby Covington and Ian Gary. But Colby Covington, what the fuck, dude? You're not showing up for work.
I was gonna say, Mr. No Show Covington.
What the fuck, dude? I mean, it's just crazy. No, it was Jeff Neal at 298. Okay. Neil Magny was at 292, I believe. Yes, it was. And then Jeff Neal at UFC 298 back in February. That was the Volkanovski and Topuria card where our boy Volk unfortunately lost his title. Moment of silence for the reign of Volkanovski.
Listen, he'll come back.
God damn it, man. Anyway, so Ian Gary's looking very promising. He debuted just 3 years ago at UFC 268, Madison Square Garden in November of 2021. And dude has just been winning fights ever since. He's a very crispy kickboxer. So isn't very crispy kickboxer, but so is MVP. MVP is very entertaining. He's very wild and unorthodox. And Ian Gary's just quick with it, man. I've had the pleasure of watching Ian Gary fight live, and this dude threw everything but the kitchen sink at Neil Magny, and it was just a masterclass performance from Ian Gary. I know he gets a lot of hate, but I mean, I can't fault you for it. He is a little annoying, but I personally like the guy. I'm an Ian Gary fan. I'll be honest with you. I pay attention. I give a fuck when he fights. So so I know he's got a lot of hate going on, but man, I like the dude. I like him. I think he's cool. What do you think, Ant? What do you think of Ian Gary?
I think it's great.
I think he's a very promising prospect.
I think most of the hate and shade thrown his way is because of Kobe, which is kind of why I want to see Kobe get fed to him.
Either Colby or even Sean Strickland.
Yeah,
Sean as well.
too, but Sean's more high profile
Mm-hmm.
right now than Kobe no show.
What the fuck, Colby?
That was so.
I wanted you
That was so bad.
to fucking fight Ian Gary because Ian Gary hasn't really gone against a wrestler yet, and I wanted you to go in there so I could see if he's got what it takes to fight these big wrestlers that are at the top of the frickin' bill in welterweight, like people like Colby Covington, people like Gilbert Burns, people like Kamaru Usman. If Kamaru Usman goes back to 170, which I'm not sure if he does or not. I don't even know what the fuck he's doing right now.
Usman's just chillaxing right
I
now.
don't even know what the fuck he's doing right now. I think he's got a podcast with Henry Cejudo, called Pound for Pound, that he's doing, and that's just what he's been doing lately. And he's got no fights booked, and there's not even any rumors of him fighting anytime soon. So I'm like,
I'm sure if someone calls him out, he'll fight.
yeah, I mean, what if maybe Colby, maybe not Colby. Although Colby Usman 3, I wouldn't complain about if I'm honest, but maybe not Colby, but if Ian Gary or MVP wins, maybe that's the next call out. Who knows? But I really wanted to see Colby Covington, a wrestler, go up against the striker Ian Gary, just because I wanted to see how Ian Gary could hang with the wrestlers at the top of the division. Like I mentioned, Bilal Muhammad's up there, Kamaru Usman's up there, Gilbert Burns is up there, all these really good grapplers, and I'm like, I haven't really seen him face one yet. And this was my opportunity to see how his takedown defense looks, and god damn it, Colby, you fucking ducked him. And I'm like, fuck. So now, I mean, I'm not mad that we got Ian Gary and MVP, but it's just not what I wanted. You know?
Honestly, I'm getting kind of fed up with all these people ducking.
Honestly.
You got
Man.
Jones ducking.
Jones ducking
You got
Aspinall.
Kobe ducking.
Colby ducking fighting.
Greggy tried ducking. He tried really hard.
He tried really hard and then, broke his toe.
Mike was willing to get his rank removed. He's like,
Just
not
so-
you.
Just so he could fight Conor McGregor. Dude, Michael Chandler is just on Conor McGregor's fucking leash. It's terrible. But, like, god damn it, I want to see that fight, and we were about to see it. We were this close.
Listen, he's got to go get himself one of them titanium toes.
He had to get one of those titanium toe bones to go along with his titanium shin bone. Y'all like my McGregor impression. I think it's okay.
I think it's good.
But, these are both very similar fighters. They're very long, they're very lanky, and they're both technically undefeated in the UFC. So, I mean, that's another stat that we can throw in there. I know MVP's great, and I loved his performance against Kevin Holland. He looked very good out there. But my gut's telling me Ian Gary is going to win this fight by decision. My humble opinion. What do you think, Ant?
I'm with you there. I'm very impressed with both of these fighters, but
It's a coin toss. It really is.
I was gonna say it's a coin toss, and I think what really helped MVP was the hype train he had
Mm-hmm.
for his debut there. And right now, I like Ian Gary more. I like his drive more to stay undefeated and reach the top. So I'm gonna say Ian Gary by knockout.
What, you got a round or not? Just a knockout?
I'll say two.
Round two. Round two knockout for Ian Gary. I'm calling a decision for Ian Gary. I think these two are it's gonna be very technical, but I think the way Ian Gary moves and his footwork in comparison to the unorthodox style of MVP, I just don't see Ian Gary getting deterred by all the showboating that MVP is gonna do in there, because MVP does that to distract you. It's a part of his fighting style. He's very awkward. He moves unpredictably. He'll like wave his arms around, and you won't know what he's doing, and he'll be showboating and all that. But which I don't think Ian Gary's gonna be too deterred from that. I mean, despite all the stuff about Ian Gary, this dude is a pretty calculated fighter. Like I've seen him fight. I've been impressed almost every single time I've watched him fight. It's just like even earlier on in his run when he got knocked down and it looked like he was gonna lose like his third UFC fight. The way he was able to pull himself out of the freaking fire and then knock the dude out was insane. So like I just don't see, and if getting knocked down by a power puncher, which I forget who he went against, but it was some really powerful guy. If getting knocked down doesn't deter you, I don't think any showboating or any kind of theatricals are gonna get to him. So that's just my reasoning behind why I think Ian Gary's got this, and just the way he moves, the way he's calculated, he's very accurate. So yeah, give me Ian Gary by a decision.
I go with these fighters based off drive and hunger I see in them. I feel like the the first time you're up there, you have all the reason to win, especially if it goes to a decision. That might just be me. I'm not disagreeing with the cards at all. That was a phenomenal fight.
Uh huh.
But if it was dead even, that hype train would be what would put you over.
100%.
So the thing I see with Gary is he's just tearing through them.
Yeah.
He just put someone in front of him. He's gonna try his damnedest and everything to get through him. I feel like,
And he's been successful.
especially with the second fight, like MVP's second fight, I
Yeah.
feel a slip up, and I think that's how Gary's gonna get him.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be very technical. I'm pretty sure these two are just gonna try to pick each other apart. I don't, but somebody is gonna find a way to win, and I think that somebody's gonna be Ian Gary, whether a knockout or he just endures and just picks him apart from the outside. Gets the leg kicks going, gets the jab going, gets some hooks to the body, some kicks to the body, stuff like that. Ian Gary's got great kicks. So does an MVP. So it's gonna be interesting to see these two crispy kickboxers go at it. But I could talk about this fight all day, but we got more fights that we got to go through. So that's the opener for the card. That starts like right at 10. So make sure you get your pay-per-view by 10 p.m. so you can see that banger right there. That's not a co-main event. That's not a featured fight. That is the opener. So make sure you get on right at 10. Even 8:30, watch that featured prelim. Fuck it. you know. Next up on the card, we have Myra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. Uh, Myra's coming off of a loss to Raquel Pennington in the title fight, the vacant women's bantamweight title fight that happened back at UFC 297, the co-main event to Sean Strickland and Dracus Duplessis. So that is where Myra Bueno Silva is. She's pretty good all around. She does shine on the ground though. 100% is that's where she's shining, and that's why she lost her fight. It's because Raquel Pennington's so goddamn good at counter wrestling. Dude couldn't, girl couldn't get other girl down, and Raquel Pennington ended up becoming the champion through that. And speaking of which, Raquel Pennington has like no contenders right now. Now that I'm thinking about it. God damn. Women's bantamweight has been a mess since Amanda Nunes' departure. I'm being honest. Women's flyweight and strawweight, they look fine. They're doing perfectly fine on their own, but women's bantamweight, they're struggling a little bit. They're just a little bit. Also, I think they should bring back the 145 division, the other belt that Amanda Nunes held. So I think that'd be good because then you can get more women to come into the UFC, had different weight classes. But most of them are falling within the 125 and 115 zone. Even 135 doesn't have a whole lot of people in it. It's not a very deep roster there. There's a deep roster of 125 especially and 115. So I don't know, man. The women's bantamweight right now, it's a little bit rocky. But we got to build it up somehow, and it just doesn't seem like many people are doing anything about it. And I'm happy to see some movement here with a former title challenger and a promising contender in Macy Chiasson. So, like we said, Myra Bona Silva's coming off of that loss to Raquel Pennington, but Chiasson's coming off of a win by submission back in March of this year. And she's also got 3 knockouts and 3 submissions, and she has 3 first-round finishes. I don't know where Myra Buena Silva's morale is at after the Pennington loss, because if you guys remember correctly, when we did our 297 podcast, I had like no hope for Raquel Pennington at all. I wanted her to win, but I thought Myra Buena Silva was a little bit too dangerous, and she would find a way to become the new champion. Unfortunately, and she was the favorite to win that fight, and then she came up short to Raquel Pennington. To my joy, I was happy to be wrong about that. But at the same time, when you're hyped up so much and you've been doing really well for the better part of like 2 years, right? And then you finally get to it, and then you lose to somebody that hasn't fought since 2021. Where's your morale at? You know, that's why I'm like very questionable with Myra Buena Silva. I believe Myra is still the slight favorite here. But I'm going with the underdog here. Give me Macy Chiasson. I think she's gonna do it. I'm
I'm gonna say Silver for that.
gonna say Silva. I mean, either way, it's just it. This fight's probably gonna determine like who gets a number one contender fight if it's not already in a number one contender fight. But I don't know if they're quite ready to run back Raquel Pennington and Myra Buena Silva again. I know Raquel Pennington's got obviously Tisha Torres, or now Tisha Pennington. I think she's got a wife. They got a kid now. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what she's doing, where she's at right now. But she is the champ, and I'd like to see her fight soon. And it's happy to see that there's some division. There's some movement
Movement in
in
the
the
division.
division, because this division is it's suffering, y'all. The women's bantamweight division is suffering, y'all, and nobody's really doing anything about it. So now we got this promising contender against a former title challenger. I think that's good movement. If Chiasson pulls this off, then we have our number one contender right there. But if Myra Buena Silva does, I don't know where they're gonna go from here. So fuck, man. I don't. I don't know. Women's bantamweight is so dead right now. It's very bad. Amanda Nunes, we miss you sorely. We miss you sorely. But I understand why. There really wasn't much left for you to do in your UFC career besides defend your belt one more time and then go out on top. And yeah, that's what you did. You got a kid now, 2 kids now, I think. And you got a wife, got a family. It's. I just miss you though. God damn it. But nah, give me Macy Chias, and I can't call a finish, so I'll just say fucking decision.
Yeah,
Uh,
decision.
and then you got Myra Buena Silva, probably
Yeah,
decision.
I do, and it's mainly because like she was already challenging for the championship. She came up short. Obviously, you had high hopes for her and whatnot. She's very good.
Hmm.
Uh, she's put in the work. So really, how that title match went down, I don't see that demoralizing someone to the point where their like spirit's broken. I don't think it's gonna be easy at all.
No.
Certainly not for a win, but I do have faith that Silver will pull this off.
Well, we'll have to see what happens this Saturday. And next up, we have our featured fight of the night. We have Mr. Anthony Lionheart Smith going up against Roman Dolidze. This is this fight, man. It has been this fight position has been very. This fight card in general has been
Cursed.
very cursed. Obviously, we were supposed to be headlined by McGregor and Chandler. McGregor threw a kick and hit the elbow, broke his toe. And then now Michael Chandler's posting like he's going through a breakup, and I'm like, God damn, what the fuck? And then our co-main event was supposed to be Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg. I was ready for Jamal Hill to just school up Carlos Ulberg real quick, and then he got hurt again. What the fuck, Jamal Hill? And then so then after that, Anthony Smith jumps in and says, "Yeah, sure, I'll fight Carlos Ulberg. Fuck it, I've fought everybody else. I've probably fought somebody like him before. I'll take the short notice fight." Right, because Anthony Lionheart Smith has been around for like 40 something, 50 something fights at this point in his career. So, I'm like, okay, man. He's just, I don't think he'll ever fight for the title again, but fuck, man, he's staying around and he's still competing pretty well. Obviously, he's coming off of that guillotine. He's coming off the gilly versus Vitor Petrino at UFC 301. That was just 2 months ago. Not even 2 months ago. That was like a month ago. A month and a half,
A few
maybe.
weeks ago.
Like a few weeks ago at UFC 301. But he said he didn't take much damage in that fight at all. He just kind of jumped gilly, and that was it. And I think we could safely say that Mr. Anthony Lionheart Smith is in the Gilly Goose Gang. So, um, Anthony Smith coming in on the short notice to fight Carlos Ulberg. And I'm like, okay, that's going to be pretty good. I actually kind of like Anthony Smith's chances there. And then Carlos Ulberg gets hurt earlier this week. Actually, no, early last week, or no, probably later last week, because you didn't know about it when you came in. So probably late last week, Carlos Ulberg got hurt and then pulled out a fight against Anthony Smith. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, well, what now? Anthony Smith's still ready to go. He's training. He's ready to go, right? And then they gave him Roman Dolidze, and then my hope for Anthony Smith went through. It went down the toilet. I love Anthony Smith. Don't get me wrong. I think I mentioned it in the last podcast when we overviewed the card. No predictions. Um, I think I mentioned it. Anthony Smith and Michael Bisping's podcast, Believe You Me, here on YouTube and Spotify. I'm a big fan of, and kind of was my inspiration behind starting this little show with Anthony. It's funny. I got my own. I got my own Anthony. It's just not Anthony Smith.
Joan Anthony.
It's just not Anthony Smith. I got Anthony Gonzalez, not Anthony Smith. So and then
Listen, those last names are completely the exact same commonplace wise.
100%. And then of course I'm not Michael. I am a Steven. So you know, uh, Anthony Smith and Michael Bisping's podcast kind of inspired me to make this one. So I love Anthony Smith to death, and I know, and he's coming off of a big win. It was very awesome watching him win that fight. But Roman Dolidze here is pretty fucking scary.
Scary motherfucker.
He's a scary motherfucker, and he's coming off of a loss to Nasruddin Imavov, and I'm like, and Imavov just beat Jared Cannonier a couple weeks ago, albeit controversially. That stop was a little early, but you know, eh, if Dolidze had won that fight, it would have been Dolidze against Jared Cannonier, you know. So I'm like, okay, looks like Dolidze is going to absolutely sleep Anthony Smith or find some way to finish him. So give me Roman Dolidze by finish. I'm even gonna go as far as to say round 1 or 2.
Really?
Yeah,
No
I
hope
got
in
no hope
Smith's
for Anthony
survival?
Smith here. I love him to death, and I hope he wins. I just don't think he's gonna. So yeah, give me that. Give me Roman Dolidze. What you got?
I'm going to say Smith by decision.
Really? Okay.
See, the thing is, when a loss happens, it can affect how well you fight and how you look at things in the future. And I feel like Anthony's win will be enough to get to snag him the win in that fight. Granted, I'm scared of that motherfucker.
I'm scared of Roman Dolidze, man. That dude is
guy.
scary.
I would not. You probably couldn't pay me enough to be in the ring with him.
And like not even a fight, just in the same ring as
No.
him. Yeah, just nope,
No.
can't pay me enough. Nope.
Okay, the only time
Scary
I'll
Georgians.
be near him is if he's on the other side of a table signing like autographs or something, because he's scary.
He is very scary, and he's got a pretty good skill set under him too. That's why I'm very worried for Anthony Smith here. I'm like, oh no. I Dolidze, man. These fighters that are coming out of Georgia, man. People like Giga Chikadze, people like frickin' Merab Dvalishvili and Roman Dolidze, all of them are really fucking good. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know what's gonna happen here. So yeah, I got Dolidze by a very early finish.
And I think Smith is going to endure and take the win.
That's the result I'm hoping for.
So not gonna
But it's probably not gonna happen. I love you, Anthony Smith. Don't get me wrong. You are the obviously inspiration for this channel's existence. So I mean, I want you to win. I just don't know if you're gonna. No, it's just, that's just how it is. But anyway, before I cry myself to sleep over Anthony Smith losing another fight,
Don't worry.
let's talk about this co-main event. This co-main event is an absolute fucking banger, and I'm super duper excited for it. Listen to this, guys. We got our new co-main event here because obviously Olberg and Hill didn't work, and now we got this new co-main event with Brian Ortega.
Give me T-City. Oh, sorry.
Give me T-City. Too early.
Sorry, too early. Continue.
We got Brian T-City Ortega versus Diego Lopez. All right, we got promising contender versus the old guard here. And it's just that kind of fight. You get the young up-and-comer that's got a lot of potential, that's been making some waves, coming off of a gigantic win at UFC 300, Mr. Diego Lopez here. And he's also been on quite the winning streak. I think he's on a 3-fight winning streak right now, and all of them have been by finish. So in every single fight that he's in, he finishes the dude. I mean, he's got 2 submissions and 2 knockouts and 1 submission. Despite him being a jiu-jitsu specialist, the dude's got some heavy hands too, so don't sleep on the hands. And obviously, the last time we saw Diego Lopez was on the prelims for UFC 300 when he went up against long stay in the division of Sadiq Yosef, who's been around since I don't fucking know, fucking forever ago. So he went up against this guy he's still got it too. Don't get me wrong. Sadiq Yusuff is still a very good fighter. It's just Diego Lopez came in and just fucking slept him in 89 seconds, and that really put him on this little fucking jetpack and went boom. Now he's fighting the permanent number one contender of this division that isn't named Max Holloway and Brian Ortega. So Brian Ortega, once again, you guys know Brian T. City Ortega by this point. The dude has been around since fucking forever ago. And he's fought the who's who of this division, too. He's fought Max Holloway. He went up in a title fight against him. He fought Volkanovski. He's fought Yair Rodriguez. That was his last time out. His last time out, he got his ass handed to him in round one. But then what happened in round two? He fucking submitted him. Yair Rodriguez is just that motherfucking guy. Also, before Ilya Taporia, obviously Brian Ortega was the one that came closest to beating Alexander Volkanovski back at UFC 266. Yeah, 266 all the way back in fucking 2021, man. That was Volk's first title defense against a dude that wasn't named Max Holloway. um, and and obviously that round three came out of a fucking movie. There was like 2-3 very deep submissions that happened in that round on Alexander Volkanovski, specifically that mounted guillotine that Brian Ortega had him. I thought that was it. I remember watching this fight live when I was like I was sitting here in my basement. I was watching it with my two friends, and like this dude was like squeezing on him. I was like, oh man, Brian Ortega, he's got him good. And like Volkanovski to this point was looking great coming off that controversial obviously the second fight with Max Holloway that he had, not the first one. It was very controversial. So like he really wanted to prove himself in this fight, and then when Brian Ortega jumped on him and slapped that guillotine on him, I was like, oh. I thought we was gonna get a new champ right there, but nah, man. Volkanovski just fucking found a way, and he got out of it.
Got that dog in him.
And then moments later, Brian Ortega put Alexander Volkanovski back in their fight into a deep triangle choke, his signature fucking move that he's put so many people away with. And Volk broke out of it again. I'm like, God damn it, Volk, you are just that MFing good, huh? So, yeah, I mean, no fault of his own. That was the last time out. And then, of course, then he had his next fight after the Volkanovski loss was against Yair Rodriguez, but unfortunately, early into round one, he blew out his shoulder and lost by doctor stoppage, obviously. And then when he was fully recovered, fully healed, he went up against Yair Rodriguez again. Right, Yair Rodriguez had already won his interim championship to this point. So Yair Rodriguez, he is that former interim champion. He had already won the interim belt against Josh Emmett by submitting him with the triangle choke. And then he went up against Volk, and then that was it just so happened to be that was after Volk's very close first fight against Makhachev, and he had all the world to prove. And Yair Rodriguez challenged Alexander Volkanovski at probably the worst time to challenge Alexander Volkanovski, coming off of a close fight with the pound for pound number one guy. And I'm like, God damn it, bro. Yair Rodriguez, I love you to death. You're very great at Taekwondo. I love your style of fighting. But God damn it, you are not winning this one. You are not winning that fight. No matter how much you want to look at it, no matter how much you want to twist and turn it into your direction, you weren't winning that fight at all.
He's like, I have a death thought. He has plot armor.
He has plot armor, okay? This is the protagonist redemption arc right here in beating you, the dangerous contender. That I was very worried about Yair Rodriguez going against Alexander Volkanovski. My anxieties were proven wrong, obviously, but Yair Rodriguez is good, and he was handing it to Brian Ortega in their last fight. Like, Brian Ortega was taking a fucking beating. And then, what fucking happened? Brian Ortega found a way and submitted him because he's just Brian Ortega, man. And I bet if he slapped that mounted guillotine on Max Holloway, if Max Holloway was the champion in that fight, he probably would have beat Max Holloway. But he just locked that guillotine on Alexander Volkanovski. So
I think the only other one who wouldn't have lost to that would be Korean Zombie.
probably, I mean, the dude just.
Like,
Are you good? Are you done yet? Like, dude, the fucking Max Holloway fight the fight that he had last summer against Korean Zombie's retirement fight. Fucking dude, Max Holloway had a deep fucking anaconda choke on fucking Korean Zombie, and Korean Zombie was just, you done? Like, you're squeezing on my neck a little bit. It's not really doing much. Like, does bro breathe out of his side? Like, I don't know, man. It's just, he was gargling. He was, yeah, so said Max Holloway. But I just think Korean Zombie was chilling there, like, this is what we're doing, okay? I guess this is what we're doing, all right?
Yes, this is where we're at for right now.
All right, I guess I'm okay with this. And then, of course, that forced Max Holloway to bail on a locked-in submission because dude just wasn't going out. I'm like, huh? What the fuck was this dude made out of? Fucking titanium? But nah, it's just, Max Holloway, man. Yeah, it's the only other person that could have gotten out of that guillotine. It was, other than Volkanovski, would have probably been Korean Zombie. So, Brian Ortega, though, he's been here for a very long time. Diego's the new kid on the block. Guys, we've seen this style of fight plenty of times. It's the old versus the new school versus old school, veteran versus promising prospect. It's a tale as old as time. And sometimes the guard does change, and you pass through it. But it's not happening here. Give me Brian Ortega by a round 3 submission. Oh, yep. I think this is only a 3-round co-main event too, so give me Brian Ortega by just a late submission. He'll find a way to get it.
I think he'll get it by an early submission.
Yeah.
I just have that much faith
in Brian Ortega here. Yeah, dude, give me Brian Ortega. You just can't count him out anymore. You just can't. He's just that guy, you know. Plus, I know everybody's talking about how powerful Diego Lopez is and how good he is on the ground. This is all true. But you guys are forgetting how crispy Brian Ortega's fucking boxing is. Have you seen this dude box with people? It's pretty fucking good. And, he's got very good boxing. His kicks are a little bit more to be desired there. But, to be honest, man, I just don't see a way how you can really count out Brian Ortega here. And, there are instances where the new guard passes through the old guard, and then they become the new contenders, right? I just don't think it's happening here. I just don't think it is. I mean, we've seen this happen before. I mean, look at even just Dustin Poirier's fight with fucking Benoit Saint-Denis, this dangerous contender, very powerful and good on the ground. What did Dustin do? What did Dustin do? Fucking slept him in round 2. I'm like, I don't know, man. Now, Brian Ortega doesn't have the Dustin Poirier power, but he's got that slick ground game. And I always say, I think I've said it multiple times on this podcast, Brian Ortega's probably got the best jiu-jitsu in the UFC when you're not named Charles Oliveira. Like, he's got the, like, other than, if your name is Charles Oliveira, yes, you have the best jiu-jitsu in UFC. But other than Charles Oliveira, give me Brian Ortega. He's the best jiu-jitsu guy in the fucking place right now. And then Ilya Topuria is right behind him. But that's just how I feel. I mean, give me Brian Ortega by a late submission. You got Brian Ortega by an early submission. Either way, we got Brian Ortega by a submission. All right. So
yeah, when it comes to these types of fights, it's like you have these two fighters going at it. I can't see a way for this guy to go down. You might slip up there or there or that, and they're gonna capitalize on it. That's what it comes down to for me.
So what's going to happen, but that is a very exciting fight, and that's a very good. They both had about the same amount of prep time overall, only about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. So it's gonna be a pretty good fight. I think this is gonna be a great fight. I'm very excited for it, and give me Brian Ortega, and I'm gonna be rooting for Brian Ortega. So hopefully it comes to fruition. And now, guys, it's time for the main event of the evening. No, it is not McGregor and Chandler. Yep.
But I bought the pay-per-view and it said that Greggy would be there.
Tough luck, kid. Tough luck, kid. He threw.
I feel like that's what went through everyone's mind.
But I bought this pay-per-view and it said McGregor was on it. And
he's like, no.
I'm gonna throw a kick in my last week of fucking sparring, and it's gonna hit somebody's elbow, and I'm gonna break my toe real quick. All right. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
And I know, like, it couldn't be helped, and it's like something that happens during training, you get injured and whatnot. We've heard this a million
thousands of times.
But I've never seen Gregor fight live.
Yeah, you haven't.
I did see him in Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
But I'm told that this is the guy that made UFC as big as it is.
He is.
I'm told this is the guy that sells the pay-per-views.
And he is.
I'm told this is the guy that
Yep.
you would lose your top 5 rankings
To
to
fight.
fight so you get that cha-ching. You know?
And that's exactly who he is.
And I'm told 2-3 weeks prior, hey, you can get this pay-per-view $10 off, and it's got that guy in it.
And then, what happened?
Well, I'm saying everyone else swiped their credit cards and bought it.
Yeah. It's just like that, man. Like, I'm told that this is the guy. I'm told that he hasn't fought in a bit. I know he is the guy. I've heard about him. I've seen him in the news. I've seen him for better or for worse. And,
He's tried selling me his alcohol every fucking time.
yeah, every single time I'm watching UFC with my friends, he's trying to sell me his whiskey. And I'm told that he's the cream of the crop of this freaking sport.
He's the guy.
And then you don't get to see him.
Like, what the fuck?
God damn it, Conor McGregor. Oh, man, he never pulled out of a fight in his entire career until now. And I'm like, what the fuck? It had to be now? In your return? God damn. I know you broke the toe. I'm a big proponent against fighters fighting injured. And last fight, Conor McGregor went in injured. So I'm like, I would rather see McGregor be at 100% than go in there, fight injured, and break a bone again in the end of the first round. So, I was like, God damn it, man. What the fuck, Connor? I had faith in you. I hope this fight gets rebooked soon, man. Like we said on the last podcast, I think it's going to be at the Sphere in Las Vegas in September. I'm hoping the September pay-per-view isn't finalized yet. Obviously, the August pay-per-view is, so it will not be an August return. Unfortunately, that will be headlined by Izzy Adesanya and Drake Duplessis. The rest of the card has not been built.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you said it. Izzy's back.
Yeah, Izzy's back, and I was right in the last podcast that he'd be back in August. And what the fuck happened? Almost as soon as I uploaded the podcast, he came back, and it's targeted for August. So August 17th, UFC 305. That is going to be Izzy Adesanya and Drake Duplessis. The rest of the card hasn't been built yet, but we're focused on 303 right now.
Yeah, we'll get more into that then.
So it's not McGregor and Chandler, but instead we got the Chama Man, Alex Pereira. Alex Apolitan Pereira, aka Chama Man. And then we have Yuri Prohaska, the samurai Viking person. So, this is a rematch from November of 2023. The last time these guys met was at Madison Square Garden. Alex Pereira's best arena. Alex Pereira's main arena. Madison Square Garden makes his debut there, knocks a dude out, fights there a year later, becomes a champion, fights there a year later, becomes a champion again. I'm like, God damn it. And Madison Square Garden's just yours, Alex Pereira. Here you go. Like, it's just yours. The fucking owner should just hand you the key. This is your arena.
Your arena, we're gonna move Sean O'Malley over to Boston.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't been there.
And since last August. No, but, Alex Pereira, obviously y'all know him. He is Israel Adesanya's biggest hater, and this big-ass motherfucking Brazilian that when he touches you, you just fucking die, as Sean Strickland put it. And he's got the leg kicks, the very unorthodox leg kick that has no tell on it whatsoever, and apparently, even though it doesn't look like much, it debilitates the best fighters in the fucking UFC. Ask Israel Adesanya, ask Yuri Prohaska, ask Jan Blachowicz, all these guys that Alex Pereira has fought. Ask them, and they'll tell you that that calf kick is deadly. But what's even more deadly than that? This man's fucking left hook. I don't understand how his left hook has so much power. When he throws it, it doesn't look like much at all. Like, dude, it's literally just... And then you just die. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, this dude is made out of fucking mahogany. He's fucking huge. I've seen him live. I watched him fight Izzy at Madison Square Garden, and I watched him beat Izzy with that left hook and that calf kick. And I'm like, what the fuck is this dude on? What is he on? Even Sean Strickland. He fought Sean Strickland back in 2022, International Fight Week. I forget exactly the number of that card. Forgive me. I want to say it was 280 something, but but fucking man, I can't tell you it right now. But he
Would it have been
fought.
85 or?
No, no. Actually, might have been 270 something. Hang on. UFC 274 is when Michael Chandler knocked out Tony Ferguson. July. That was in July. That was in May. So June would have been 275. July would have been 276. So yeah, 276. At UFC 276, he fought Sean Strickland, and Sean Strickland fought Alex Pereira the same way he fought Israel Adesanya, and same way he fights everybody else. Just
I'm a
shells up.
walking.
I'm
I'm
a
a walking.
walking. I'm
I'm
a
a walking.
walking. I'm gonna throw a quick little 1-2, maybe a little front kick. I'm a walking. I'm a walking. 1-2 front kick. I'm walking. I'm walking. 1-2 front kick, and then he fucking wins the belt. you know, Sean Strickland fought Alex Pereira the same way that he fights everybody else, and Alex Pereira fucking touched him, and he died. like, same thing. That little left hook. It don't even look like much. It's a little boop, and then the dude just on the floor, unconscious, doesn't know where he is. As confused as he was on his first test in elementary school. That's just how Alex Pereira rolls. And I could tell in that fight, Alex Pereira was having a little bit of difficulty with Sean Strickland's movement, as I had said. I didn't say it on the podcast, but I was saying it to like my friends, my family, that this dude moves weird, and that it's gonna be a little bit hard for him to do that. So, and then he fucking slept him. Izzy couldn't find a way to do it. Paulo Costa couldn't find a way to do it. The only reason why Dracus Du Plessis was able to do it was because he's a more well-rounded fighter. He's not a kickboxer. He's a mixed martial artist. He's not. Well, all of them are mixed martial artists, but I'm not. I'm just saying he can strike and he can grapple. You're talking to the dude that knocked out Robert Whitaker and out wrestled Derek Brunson. So I mean, that's just something to tell about your skill set. So Dracus Du Plessis was able to beat Sean Strickland with the grappling, and that's just how he was able to beat him. And that's why he's the champion right now. Sean's takedown defense was great, but when the judges see you going like this into the opponent's legs, and they see that you're holding him like this up against the cage, they're gonna like that. So that's why he lost. But I'm just saying, back to Alex Pereira here. This dude just got the touch of death. This dude has two weapons that are his best weapons, and he uses them well, and it just hurts everybody. Even in their first fight, Yuri Prohaska and Alex Pereira, what happened? Yuri Prohaska had some early success against Alex Pereira. I saw him wobbling him. I saw him wrestling him. I'm like, God damn, Yuri Prohaska, okay, you learned to wrestle. You did pretty good at that. You're doing pretty good here. And of course Yuri Prohaska's got power too. Don't get me wrong. He's got some smoking power, you know. But I mean that's how, and like he's also just got a fighter spirit. That's how he was able to beat Glover Teixeira to become the champion. And it was his fighter spirit. It was the last minute of the last round in a fight that he was going to lose on the scorecards, and he submitted the jiu-jitsu guy. So I mean, it's fucking he's fucking Yuri Prohaska, I guess, and like the dude has that fighting spirit, and he was having a lot of success against Alex Pereira. But what did Alex Pereira do? He kicked his leg and left hooked him while he was shooting in, and guess what? Yuri Prohaska went to bed. Well, no, it was the elbows that did it for him. Cause like he hit him with the left hook. Yuri ate it. Somehow he just didn't go on his ass right then and there. I'd have been dead. And would be wobbled, possibly on the ground. I'd be dead. I'd be flatlined on the ground. Heart stopped. Cause of death: traumatic brain injury.
Just see Strickland coming down with the nurse kit.
Yep. I'm like, he hit him with that left hook. Yuri Prohaska fucking ate it because this dude's from another dimension. I swear it. And then he shoots in for the takedown, and then Alex Pereira's like, oh no, he's trying to take me down again. Well, wait a minute, his head's right there. I've wobbled him. I have an elbow. Let me just start going like this until he falls. And then that's what he did. And then he fell down. And then the ref called the fight after that, albeit it was a little bit early. In my opinion, I think that was my first reaction, was it was an early stoppage. And I still will say that it was an early stoppage, despite Yuri Prohaska saying, nah, I was out. I'm like, flash knockout and getting flatlined are two different things. Okay? I think he was fine. I think he was recovering well. It's just the ref called the fight. So that's probably the big thing, the big storyline going into this fight, that stoppage was a little bit early. But let me tell you something, man. Both of these guys are very, 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 very fun fighters to watch. I mean, you got Alex Pereira, our champion. Obviously, he made it there in such a short amount of time. He's already built a Hall of Fame resume, and he's only been in the company for 3 years. Like, he's already built a Hall of Fame resume. He's won belts in 2 different weight classes and beaten the greats in all of those weight classes. I mean, he beat Israel Adesanya to get the belt. He beats Sean Strickland, who's another, who was a soon-to-be champion at that point in time, but
Yep.
once again, a champion. He beat Sean Strickland before he was champion. Then he beat Israel Adesanya, the champion and the second best middleweight, which I think every MMA UFC fan can definitely tell you, yeah, is he second best to Anderson Silva, right? He beats Izzy Adesanya, and then he loses to Israel Adesanya, which, okay, you lost to Israel Adesanya. That's all right. A lot of people have done that, you know. And then after he gets beat by Izzy, moves up to 205, faces the former champion of 205 in Jan Blachowicz, fucking smokes him. Well, he doesn't smoke him. He actually wins by decision. Albeit it was a controversial decision. I thought Jan Blachowicz won that fight. That's me though. And Jan Blachowicz has a right to say that he got robbed because I think he did get robbed. But I know they were trying to catapult Alex Pereira to the top. I don't know if Dana was telling the judges to do it, but whatever. I'm not a judge. I don't know how that works. So I have really no.
He probably just had Mike Bell on the card.
Yeah, maybe. And then but I personally think Jan Blachowicz did more. It was a close fight. Don't get me wrong. I thought Jan Blachowicz did enough to win. But then Alex Pereira came out with the win. And then guess what? His next fight is against Yuri Prochazka at Madison Square Garden, and you just don't fight Alex Pereira in fucking Madison Square Garden because he's undefeated there, and just looks to be continuing. So then he fucking wins the belt there, and then he defends the belt against Jamal Hill, another former champion that beat up his mentor, and Glover Teixeira, because keep in mind after Glover Teixeira lost the belt to Yuri Prochazka. Yuri Prochazka had that shoulder injury, had to vacate the belt, and the vacant title fight was between Jamal Hill and Glover Teixeira, to which Jamal Hill just put a clinic on Glover Teixeira, and then won the belt that way, but then he got hurt, and then had to vacate the title, and then Alex Pereira's like, hey, you beat up my mentor. I don't like that. You beat up my coach. I didn't like that you did that. And he talked a lot of shit leading into 300. I didn't like that. And then the calculated killer that is Alex Pereira fucking smokes him. Round one. UFC 300, the biggest stage. And, like, this guy has built quite the Hall of Fame resume. He's won belts in 2 classes, and he's one of the most popular UFC fighters right now. And he did it all in fucking 3 years. Anything's possible, guys. Anything's possible, guys. But then you have Yuri Prochazka on the other end, which he's not to be slept on either. Like I mentioned earlier, he's got that fighter spirit, and he can do just about everything. I mean, he submitted the jiu-jitsu guy. That's pretty crazy. He wrestled Alex Pereira for a little bit until Alex Pereira learned how to get up and then fucking smoked him from there. But he's also got power. He's a wild man. The dude fights with a heart on his sleeve. Like, he goes out there. He's bouncing around. He's got that wide, like, really traditional martial arts stance. It looks like he's fighting in a karate tournament the way he's fighting. You know, he's like low guard, wide stance. There's a lot of leg kicks. There's a lot of like very unorthodox strikes. He moves weird. He looks weird. Like, you know, I love Yuri Prochazka. He's one of my favorite fighters right now. But I think this is gonna be a great fight. I think it's gonna be better than their first fight. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's gonna go away in round one. I mean, their first fight was epic to begin with. For the round that it lasted, and then I think this one's gonna be even better because now Yuri Prochazka has a chip on his shoulder. Now this guy beat me and has my belt that I think that I never lost per se because he didn't really lose it. I mean, then he went against Alex Pereira at Madison Square Garden and technically lost it. But after that, the belt had already been vacated from Jamal Hill. So like he's like, this is the belt that I won in a dog fight, one of the better fights you'll ever see. Glover Teixeira, Yuri Prochazka for the light heavyweight title. Go and watch that fight, man. That fight with 275, UFC 275. Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy fight. Like, you know, I totally would recommend you watch that. That's an all-time classic. One of the better title fights I've ever seen. So, but
Maybe we'll put on a fights of the decades list.
yeah, definitely. Once we get there, we're about a couple years out from that right now. We're about 6 years out from that. So, you know, it's just Yuri Prochazka's got all these tools. He can beat Alex Pereira. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think he's gonna beat Alex Pereira. I think their fight's going to be better than their first one. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a war. I think we're going to see both of them look human and not Terminators. So I think it's gonna be an epic fight. I got high expectations for this. Obviously, both of these guys are known for their finishes. They're known for their very exciting fighting style. They're known for their power and their spirit and all this stuff. But like, I just don't think Yuri Prohaska is gonna be able to beat Alex Pereira right now. Alex Pereira is on some fuck shit right now, and I don't know what's happening there right now. But he's 36 years old. Sure, yeah, he's a little bit older, but when you're in the higher weight classes, I mean, Glover Teixeira became a champion at 42 in light heavyweight, so I mean, it really don't matter. So the age thing I wouldn't really worry about, but I think it's gonna be a wild fight. And obviously anybody can win it. Everybody has that chance. I know Yuri Prohaska has the tools to beat him. It's just I don't think he beats him. And a I'm gonna call a fourth round knockout for Alex Pereira. Left hook. What you got, Ant?
I'll be honest. Um, I got Pereira round 1. If I'm honest, it's just I know both these fighters. They're both badasses.
I love them both. Both big favorites here at Frontal Access.
But Pereira is just really, really very good.
He's
And
just
I feel like he's gonna land that left when
Yuri's going wild in the
yeah,
exchanges.
like Yuri's gonna try to, because he has a chip on his shoulder. So I feel like he's gonna go right at him to prove he's got this. And when he's going right at him, he's not going to see that hit come.
And then once he gets hit with it,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gonna eat it like he did the last time. So he fucking might. He could
might,
shock
yeah, and
me
I would love to see the fight go
longer than
as
round
long
one.
as possible.
But yeah, we gotta take Pereira for this one, man. I just think Pereira's on like a whole different level. Like he's like going crazy in UFC right now. He's one of the most popular guys right now. He's very skilled fighter. Hey,
He's on that shark testosterone from GTA 4.
for real. And then like what else about him? Like he done it all. Like he's turned some of the best fighters in the like best strikers in his division into wrestlers. Like obviously you look on paper, the way to beat Alex Pereira is to wrestle him, right? Because I mean, when dude gets on the ground, he's just not very good. You know, the dude. I mean, he's like obviously he's better than me, but like I'm just saying like the ground isn't his strong suit, and that is the key to victory for beating Alex Pereira. Your blueprint is wrestle. But the way he fights, the pressure that he gives, the power he possesses, and the way he throws the strikes that are just so subtle. That little left hook, that little kick that has no like give to it at all. That little calf kick that just debilitates the best fighters in the world. Uh, it's it's something crazy. And the pressure that he puts on you because Alex Pereira is always going forward, no matter what you're doing. He's always going forward. So is Yuri Prohaska, but like Yuri Prohaska is just this wild man. He's an unorthodox wild man. That's what I call him. You know, he's unorthodox, he's wild, and obviously you can get caught with him because he's just gonna keep coming. But Mr. Alex Pereira is what we call a calculated killer. Like the dude's gonna walk you down, and just the way he throws his strikes, he hides them very well. That's the thing about him. Like there's no tell on that left hook, but he knows when he lands it. He knocked out Jamal Hill with the bottom two knuckles. It wasn't even the first two that you're supposed to punch somebody with. He got him with the bottom two knuckles, and it still fucking floored Jamal Hill. Like, and it's a little bang. That's it. It's not like, oh, it's not like a Gaethje left hook. Well, bam, you know. But it's just
What would you rather eat, a Gagey left hook or a Pereira left hook?
I've seen the touch of death with Pereira. Give me Gaethje. I've seen the touch of death with him, but I've seen people eat Justin Gaethje's left hook. Albeit they're very few and far between, but I've seen more people eat Gaethje's left hook than Alex Pereira's. So, but it's not like but Gaethje like loads it and then he lets it go. Pereira's just boop and then you're out.
Maybe when we get enough influence, we can have them hit a boxing.
Have him hit one of those hardest puncher machines. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm just like, I just don't. I just think that's the equalizer. It's the equalizer here. And you know, I just give me Alex Pereira, man. I think it's gonna be a late knockout. I think this is gonna be a blood fight. I think it's gonna be very good. I think they're both gonna look human in this fight, but albeit, I just don't think anybody's beating Alex Pereira right now. Very much could, but I just don't think it's happening. I think I'll say like 6, 7 times out of 10, Alex Pereira wins this fight. So give me Alex Pereira. I think your money will be safe with Alex Pereira. Don't bet based off of my predictions. I have a very bad track record. So that's it. I mean, I got everything. Did you got anything to add?
I think the only thing in my mind, it's like the only thing that's gonna take down Pereira is someone with like a 7-year vendetta and a 3 loss count.
Yeah, it's gonna take a massive fucking vendetta for 7 years and 0-3 to the same dude to beat Alex Pereira. I mean, Izzy did it, but that's because Izzy had all those things to beat him. He went into that fight like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. I hate you. Right? And then everybody else, though, they'd be like, yeah, I think I can get him. I think I got him. I think I got him. Even Jamal Hill, as confident as he was in the UFC 300 build-up, wasn't enough to beat Alex Pereira. Yuri Prohaska, as wild as he is, as unorthodox as he is, it wasn't enough to beat Alex Pereira. Jan Blachowicz, the former champion, who's probably out of all the light heavyweights come the closest to beating Alex Pereira, which I think he beat Alex Pereira. So, I mean, like, it's just crazy. It's just gonna take a Polish power and a 7-year vendetta to fucking beat Alex Pereira at this point in time, man. So,
It's like I summon Exodia. I summon Pereira's left hook.
boom. It's just I just don't know how he does it, man. He fights so weird. His like his punches, his kicks, they just don't look like they connect. They would connect as hard as they do, but then they connect and then you just die. I don't know. It takes a 7-year vendetta and Polish power to be Alex Pereira, man. That's all I got, man. Give us Poetan, give us the Chama, man, for the main event.
Ferguson, don't forget to ride off into the sunset.
Yes, Ferguson, you're on the July pay-per-view. Going right off into that sunset, boy. Wahoo. Also, obviously, rest in peace to Sika on Hawaii. And we'll see you guys next time. Go and follow all the socials, and our email is frontrowaccess15@gmail.com. I always check it. Later, guys.